I need to tell you something that might completely shift how you understand love as a Taurus or how you love a Taurus. Right now, as Venus moves through a particular alignment that happens only once every 18 months, the veil between surface attraction and soul recognition is thinner than it has been in years. And if you've been feeling a strange pull, an inexplicable restlessness in your relationships, or a deep knowing that something significant is about to shift in your love life, you're not imagining it, you're receiving the signal. I know you might think this is just another compatibility guide, another list of zodiac matches that tells you what you already know. But this time is completely different. Because what I'm about to share with you isn't just about sun sign compatibility. It's about understanding the energetic architecture of Taurus love, the soul contracts that Taurus natives carry, and why certain signs don't just complement Taurus. They complete a cosmic equation that's been written in your chart since the moment you were born. Have you noticed lately that your usual patience feels stretched? That the relationships that once felt comfortable now feel somehow insufficient? That there's a whisper in your heart saying there's something more, someone more aligned, a love that doesn't just satisfy but transforms? If you're nodding right now, if there's a tightness in your chest or a flutter of recognition, then you've already felt what I'm talking about. Your soul is preparing you for a revelation about love that will change everything. Let me be direct with you. Taurus is ruled by Venus, the planet of love, beauty, and values. But here's what most astrology content won't tell you. Venus doesn't just govern romance. Venus governs worth. Venus governs what you believe you deserve. And for Taurus, the most grounded, most sensual, most loyalty-driven sign in the zodiac, love isn't a fleeting emotion or a passionate fling. Love is a sacred commitment, a building of something real, something you can touch and taste and trust with your entire being. This is why Taurus compatibility isn't about fireworks. It's about foundation. It's not about the spark that burns bright and fast. It's about the ember that glows steady and warm for decades. And when Taurus finds their true soulmate match, something alchemical happens. The earth itself seems to support the union. Resources flow, stability deepens, and that famous Taurus stubbornness transforms into an unshakable devotion that most people only dream about. But here's the truth that might surprise you. The sign most compatible with Taurus isn't necessarily the one that makes the most logical sense on paper. It's the one that creates what I call energetic reciprocity. It's the sign that doesn't just appreciate Taurus qualities but needs them, craves them, and in return offers exactly what Taurus has been unconsciously seeking their entire life. Before I reveal the ultimate Taurus soulmate sign, you need to understand something crucial about how Taurus operates in love. Taurus doesn't fall quickly. Taurus doesn't trust easily. And Taurus absolutely will not invest in a connection that feels unstable or uncertain. This isn't coldness. This isn't fear. This is wisdom. Because Taurus knows something that other signs often unlearn the hard way. Real love isn't about intensity. Real love is about integrity. It's about showing up consistently, building trust brick by brick, and creating a relationship that can weather any storm because its foundation is unshakable. Think about the Taurus people you know. Think about how they love. They remember your favorite meal and cook it for you on hard days. They notice when you're wearing something new. They create spaces of beauty and comfort because they understand that environment affects emotion. They don't just say I love you. They show it through 1,000 small acts of devotion that accumulate into something so solid, so real, that it becomes the bedrock of your entire life. This is the Taurus gift. Presence, consistency, tangible love. And the soulmate sign for Taurus is the one that not only receives this gift with gratitude, but reciprocates with their own unique form of devotion that makes Taurus feel, perhaps for the first time, truly seen and truly safe. Now, I'm going to share something with you that might feel uncomfortable at first. There are 3 signs that create soul-level compatibility with Taurus. 3 signs that hold what I call the golden ticket to Taurus heart. And if you're one of these signs, or if you're a Taurus who has been drawn to these signs repeatedly, you're about to understand why. You're about to see the invisible threads that have been pulling you together, lifetime after lifetime. But before we dive into these 3 signs, let me validate something you might be experiencing right now. If you're a Taurus who has been in relationships that felt almost right but not quite, if you've given your loyalty to people who didn't treasure it, if you've built beautiful lives with partners who eventually took your steadiness for granted, I want you to know that wasn't your failure. That was your soul's way of teaching you discernment. That was the universe showing you what doesn't work so you could recognize what does when it finally arrives. And if you're someone who loves a Taurus, if you've been captivated by their calm strength, their sensual presence, their ability to make the ordinary feel sacred, but you've also felt frustrated by their slowness to open up, their resistance to change, their need for security that sometimes feels like rigidity, I want you to understand something. Taurus isn't being difficult. Taurus is being protective. Protective of their heart. Yes, but also protective of yours. Because once Taurus commits, they commit fully, and they need to know you're ready for that level of devotion before they give it. This is the Taurus paradox. They crave deep connection but fear betrayal. They want passionate love but need practical stability. They're ruled by Venus, the planet of romance, but they're an earth sign, grounded in reality. And the soulmate sign for Taurus is the one that can hold this paradox. That can be both dreamy and dependable, both emotionally available and practically supportive. Let me paint you a picture of what happens when Taurus meets their true match. There's an immediate sense of recognition. But it's not dramatic, it's quiet, it's a feeling of coming home. Taurus looks at this person and thinks, I could build a life with you. And that thought, for Taurus, is more romantic than any grand gesture or poetic declaration. Because Taurus doesn't just want a lover. Taurus wants a partner, someone who will stand beside them through the mundane and the magnificent. Someone who understands that real love is found in the everyday moments. In the morning coffee ritual, in the shared silence at the end of a long day, in the way two people create a rhythm together that becomes the heartbeat of their shared life. The first sign that creates this soul-level connection with Taurus is Cancer. And I know what you might be thinking. Cancer. The emotional water sign? Cancer. Who cries at commercials and feels everything so deeply. How could that possibly match with steady, practical Taurus? But here's what you need to understand. Cancer and Taurus create what astrologers call a sextile aspect. They're 2 signs apart in the zodiac, which means they speak different languages but share the same values. And those values are home, family, security, and building something that lasts. Cancer is ruled by the moon, the celestial body that governs emotions, intuition, and nurturing. And while Taurus might seem stoic on the surface, beneath that calm exterior is a deeply feeling soul who craves emotional safety just as much as financial security. Cancer offers Taurus something precious. The permission to feel. The safety to be vulnerable. The assurance that their emotions won't be judged or dismissed but held with tenderness and care. Think about the energy exchange here. Taurus provides Cancer with stability, with a solid ground to stand on when their emotions threaten to overwhelm them. Taurus is the rock that Cancer can cling to during their emotional storms. And in return, Cancer teaches Taurus that strength isn't just about endurance. Strength is also about openness. Strength is allowing yourself to need someone, to lean on someone, to trust that you don't have to carry everything alone. I've seen this pairing create some of the most beautiful, enduring relationships. There's a Taurus man I know who married a Cancer woman 20 years ago. He told me once that before he met her, he thought love was about finding someone who didn't need too much from him, someone independent and self-sufficient. But she taught him that real love is about being needed and allowing yourself to need in return. She taught him that vulnerability isn't weakness. It's the bridge to intimacy. And she told me that before she met him, she thought she needed someone as emotional and expressive as she was. Someone who would match her intensity. But he taught her that love doesn't have to be loud to be real. He taught her that sometimes the deepest devotion is expressed through actions, not words. through the way he remembers to buy her favorite flowers every week, through the way he holds her when she's overwhelmed without trying to fix anything, through the way he's built a life with her that feels like the safest place in the world. This is the magic of Taurus and Cancer. They balance each other. Cancer brings emotional depth to Taurus's practical world. Taurus brings grounding stability to Cancer's emotional tides. Together, they create a home that isn't just a physical space but an energetic sanctuary. A place where both people can be fully themselves, fully vulnerable, fully loved. But there's something else happening in this pairing that's even more profound. Both Taurus and Cancer are what we call yin signs, receptive signs, feminine energy signs. This doesn't mean they're passive. It means they're responsive. They're attuned to each other's needs. They create a relationship based on mutual care rather than competition. There's no power struggle here. There's no need to prove who's stronger or more independent. Instead, there's a beautiful dance of giving and receiving, of nurturing and being nurtured, of building something together that's greater than either person could create alone. Does this resonate with you? If you're a Taurus who has been drawn to Cancer, or a Cancer who feels inexplicably pulled to Taurus, you're feeling the soul recognition I'm talking about. You're feeling the ancient knowing that this person, this energy, is part of your destiny. And if you're in a Taurus-Cancer relationship right now, I want you to honor what you have. Because this kind of compatibility, this depth of understanding and mutual devotion, is rare, it's precious, and it's worth protecting with everything you have. Now let me reveal the second sign that holds a golden ticket to Taurus' heart. And this one might surprise you even more. It's Capricorn, and I can already hear some of you thinking, two earth signs together, isn't that too much of the same energy? Won't they bore each other? But here's what most people misunderstand about earth sign pairings. Earth doesn't mean boring. Earth means building. Earth means manifestation. Earth means taking dreams and making them real, tangible, touchable. When Taurus and Capricorn come together, something extraordinary happens. They create what I call the empire of love. This isn't just a relationship. This is a partnership in the truest sense of the word. This is two people who look at each other and see not just a romantic partner but a co-creator of legacy. They see someone who shares their vision of what a life well lived actually means. Security, achievement, beauty, tradition, and the patience to build it all slowly, carefully, with intention and integrity. Capricorn is ruled by Saturn, the planet of structure, discipline, and time. And while that might sound cold or restrictive, what Saturn actually teaches us is mastery. Saturn teaches us that anything worth having is worth working for, that shortcuts lead to shallow results, that real success, real love, real happiness comes from commitment sustained over time. And Taurus, more than any other sign, understands this instinctively. Taurus doesn't want quick fixes or temporary highs. Taurus wants something that will still be standing 50 years from now. I want you to imagine the energy dynamic here. Taurus brings sensuality, pleasure, and the ability to enjoy the journey. Capricorn brings ambition, strategy, and the drive to reach the destination. Together, they create a relationship that is both deeply satisfying in the present moment and constantly building toward an even better future. They don't just live day to day. They plan, they invest, they create systems and structures that support their shared goals. And those goals aren't just about money or status. Though Taurus and Capricorn do tend to build material success together, those goals are about creating a life of quality, of substance, of meaning. Let me share a story that illustrates this perfectly. There's a Taurus woman I've worked with who spent her 20s in relationships with fire signs and air signs. Passionate connections, exciting adventures, but nothing that ever felt solid. She told me she always felt like she was trying to hold water in her hands. The harder she gripped, the more it slipped away. Then she met a Capricorn man at a professional conference. She said there was no lightning bolt moment, no instant chemistry, Just a conversation that felt surprisingly easy, surprisingly deep. They talked about their 5-year plans. They talked about the kind of homes they wanted to create. They talked about values and priorities and what actually mattered in life. 6 months later, they were living together. A year after that, they bought property together. And when I spoke to her recently, 5 years into the relationship, she said something that gave me chills. She said, "I finally understand what love is supposed to feel like. It's not supposed to make you anxious or uncertain. It's not supposed to feel like a roller coaster. It's supposed to feel like coming home to yourself. Like having a partner who sees your potential and helps you build it into reality. Like knowing that no matter what challenges come, you're facing them with someone who has the same level of commitment and determination that you do." This is the Taurus Capricorn magic. They don't just love each other. They respect each other, and from both of these signs, respect is the foundation that love is built on. Without respect, passion fades. Without respect, attraction becomes shallow. But with respect, with genuine admiration for each other's strengths and understanding of each other's struggles, love deepens over time instead of diminishing. There's another layer to this compatibility that's crucial to understand. Both Taurus and Capricorn have been hurt before. Both have learned, often through painful experience, that not everyone is worthy of their trust. Both have built walls around their hearts, not out of coldness but out of self-preservation. And when these two signs meet, something beautiful happens. They recognize the walls in each other. They understand why those walls exist. And slowly, patiently, with consistent action and proven reliability, they give each other permission to lower those walls. Not all at once, not recklessly, but brick by brick by brick, creating a vulnerability that feels safe because it's earned. I need you to understand something about Capricorn that will help you see why this pairing works so profoundly. Capricorn is often misunderstood as being cold or emotionally unavailable. But that's not accurate. Capricorn feels deeply. Capricorn cares intensely. But Capricorn has learned that emotions without structure can be destructive. That love without commitment is just infatuation. That promises without follow-through are meaningless. So Capricorn shows love through action, through showing up, through building security, through taking responsibility. And Taurus, who speaks this exact same love language, receives this as the deepest form of devotion. Have you noticed this pattern in your own life? If you're a Taurus who has been frustrated by partners who were all words and no action, who made grand romantic gestures but couldn't handle the mundane responsibilities of partnership, Capricorn will feel like a revelation. Because Capricorn doesn't just promise to be there for you. Capricorn is there. Consistently. Reliably. In ways that matter. And if you're a Capricorn who has felt misunderstood by more emotionally expressive signs, who has been criticized for being too serious or too focused on practical matters, Taurus will feel like home. Because Taurus doesn't need you to be someone you're not. Taurus appreciates your steadiness. Taurus values your ambition. Taurus understands that your way of loving, through providing and protecting and building, is just as valid and just as beautiful as any poetic decoration. Now, there's a challenge in this pairing that I need to address honestly. Both Taurus and Capricorn can be stubborn. Both can be resistant to change. Both can get so focused on their goals and their routines that they forget to nurture the emotional and romantic aspects of their relationship. This is where the work comes in. This is where both signs need to consciously choose to prioritize pleasure, spontaneity, and emotional expression. Taurus needs to remind Capricorn that success means nothing if you're too busy to enjoy it. And Capricorn needs to remind Taurus that comfort zones, while safe, can also become prisons if we never push beyond them. But here's the beautiful thing about this challenge. Both Taurus and Capricorn are willing to do the work. Both understand that relationships require effort and intention. Both are committed to growth, even when it's uncomfortable. So when issues arise, they don't run. They don't give up. They sit down. They communicate. They problem solve. And they adjust. Because they're not just in this for the easy moments. They're in this for the long haul. Let me now reveal the third sign that creates soul-level compatibility with Taurus. And this one is going to challenge everything you think you know about astrological compatibility. It's Scorpio. And I know what you're thinking. Scorpio. Intense. Mysterious. Emotionally complex Scorpio. How could that possibly work with steady, straightforward Taurus? But here's what you need to understand. Taurus and Scorpio sit directly opposite each other in the zodiac. They form what's called an opposition aspect. And in astrology, oppositions aren't about conflict. They're about completion. They're about two halves of a whole. They're about finding in another person the qualities you lack, the perspectives you need, the energy that balances and completes your own. This is the most powerful, most transformative, most soul-shaking compatibility that Taurus can experience. Because Scorpio doesn't just complement Taurus. Scorpio challenges Taurus. Scorpio pushes Taurus to go deeper, feel more, risk more, transform more. And while that might sound uncomfortable, and it often is, it's also exactly what Taurus soul is calling for. Because beneath that calm, comfortable exterior, Taurus has depths that even they don't fully understand. Taurus has intensity that they've learned to control. Taurus has passion that they've learned to channel into safe, acceptable outlets. And Scorpio sees all of that. Scorpio sees the volcano beneath the mountain. And Scorpio isn't afraid of it. Scorpio is drawn to it. Let me explain the energy exchange here because it's complex and it's profound. Taurus operates in the physical realm. Taurus trusts what they can see, taste, hear, smell. Taurus builds security through tangible resources and concrete actions. Scorpio operates in the emotional and psychological realm. Scorpio trusts intuition, reads energy, sees beneath surfaces. Scorpio builds security through emotional intimacy and psychological understanding. And when these two energies come together, they create a relationship that encompasses all dimensions of human experience. Physical, emotional, psychological, spiritual. Scorpio teaches Taurus that real security doesn't come from external resources. Real security comes from internal transformation, from facing your shadows, from healing your wounds, from becoming so whole within yourself that nothing external can shake you. And Taurus teaches Scorpio that transformation doesn't have to be constant crisis. That healing can happen slowly, gently, through consistent self-care and the creation of stable, nurturing environments. That sometimes the most profound growth happens not through dramatic breakthroughs but through small, daily choices to show up for yourself and for the people you love. I've witnessed Taurus-Scorpio relationships that were absolutely magnetic. There's a pull between these signs that's almost gravitational. When they meet, they feel it immediately. This isn't like the comfortable recognition of Taurus-Cancer or the respectful admiration of Taurus-Capricorn. This is something more primal, more intense, more unavoidable. It's a feeling of this person sees me in a way no one else ever has. This person knows me in a way that's almost frightening. This person could destroy me or complete me. And I'm not sure which is more terrifying. Let me tell you about a Taurus man I counseled who fell in love with a Scorpio woman. He described their first conversation as feeling like she was reading his soul. He said she asked him questions no one had ever asked him before. Not surface questions about his job or his hobbies, but deep questions about his fears, his dreams, his wounds, his desires. And instead of feeling invaded, he felt seen. He felt like for the first time in his life, someone was interested in who he actually was beneath the persona he showed the world. She told me that what drew her to him was his groundedness. She said she'd spent her life in relationships with people who matched her intensity but couldn't handle her depth. People who were fascinated by her mystery but ultimately wanted her to be lighter, easier, less complicated. But he didn't want her to change. He wasn't intimidated by her power. He wasn't threatened by her emotional complexity. Instead, he offered her something she'd never had before. A safe place to land. A steady presence that didn't waver when she was going through her inevitable cycles of death and rebirth. A love that said, I'm not going anywhere, no matter how dark it gets. This is what makes Taurus Scorpio so powerful. They give each other what they most need. Taurus needs to be pushed beyond their comfort zone, to access deeper levels of feeling and being. Scorpio needs to be grounded, to have a safe container for their intensity. They create a relationship that is both deeply stable and constantly evolving, both utterly committed and endlessly fascinating. But I'm not going to lie to you. This pairing is not easy. The same intensity that makes it so powerful also makes it challenging. Scorpio's need for emotional depth can feel overwhelming to Taurus. Taurus's need for stability can feel limiting to Scorpio. Scorpio wants to merge completely, to know everything, to experience total intimacy. Taurus needs space, needs routine, needs moments of simple pleasure without psychological analysis. And navigating these different needs requires maturity, communication, and a willingness to stretch beyond your natural comfort zone. There's also the issue of control. Both Taurus and Scorpio are fixed signs, which means both can be incredibly stubborn. Both want things their way. Both resist being pushed or manipulated. And when two fixed signs clash, it can create a stalemate that feels impossible to resolve. This is where both signs need to learn the art of surrender. Not surrender as in giving up, but surrender as in trusting. Trusting that you don't have to control everything. Trusting that your partner's way might be just as valid as yours. Trusting that compromise isn't weakness. It's wisdom. I want to share something with you about Taurus-Scorpio relationships that might shift your entire perspective on what this pairing is really about. This isn't just a romantic connection. This is a soul contract. This is two people who have agreed, on a level beyond conscious awareness, to be mirrors for each other, to reflect back the parts of themselves they've been avoiding, to catalyze growth that wouldn't happen any other way. And yes, that's intense. Yes, that's uncomfortable. But it's also the kind of love that changes you at the cellular level. The kind of love that makes you look back at your life and realize there was a before and an after, and you're not the same person you were when this relationship began. Here's what I need you to understand about why Scorpio specifically holds this transformative power for Taurus. Taurus, as an earth sign, tends to identify with the material world. Your possessions, your routines, your physical environment. These things feel real to you. These things feel safe, and there's nothing wrong with that. But Scorpio comes along and says, what about the invisible world? What about the emotions you've been suppressing? What about the desires you've been denying? What about the parts of yourself you've buried because they didn't fit the image of who you thought you should be? Scorpio doesn't ask these questions to be cruel. Scorpio asks because they genuinely want to know you. All of you, not just the polished, presentable version. And for Taurus, who has spent a lifetime building a carefully constructed identity based on stability and reliability, this level of scrutiny can feel terrifying, but it can also feel liberating. Because somewhere deep inside, Taurus knows they're more than their routines. They're more than their possessions. They're more than the role they play in other people's lives. And Scorpio gives them permission to explore that more, to become that more, to embody the fullness of who they actually are. I've seen this transformation happen in real time. A Taurus woman I worked with told me that before she met her Scorpio partner, she thought she had her life figured out. She had a good job, a nice apartment, a circle of friends, a predictable routine. She was content. But she wasn't alive. She wasn't passionate. She wasn't growing. And then Scorpio entered her life and everything shifted. Suddenly she was feeling things she'd never allowed herself to feel. Suddenly she was taking risks she'd never considered. Suddenly she was questioning beliefs she'd held her entire life. And it was terrifying and exhilarating and absolutely necessary. She said to me, I used to think love was about finding someone who fit into my life. But he didn't fit into my life. He exploded my life. And then he helped me build a new one. A bigger one. A more authentic one. A life that actually reflects who I am, not who I thought I was supposed to be. This is the gift of Taurus Scorpio. It's not comfortable. It's not easy. But it's real. It's transformative. And for Taurus souls who are ready to evolve, who are ready to go beyond the surface and explore the depths, Scorpio is the perfect catalyst. Now, I want to address something important. You might be wondering, what if I'm a Taurus and I'm not with any of these three signs? What if I'm with an Aries or a Gemini or a Sagittarius? Does that mean my relationship is doomed? Absolutely not. What I've shared with you today are the signs that create the most natural, most harmonious, most soul-level compatibility with Taurus. But compatibility isn't destiny. And chemistry isn't the same as connection. I've seen Taurus thrive in relationships with fire signs who bring excitement and spontaneity to their lives. I've seen Taurus build beautiful partnerships with their signs who stimulate their minds and broaden their perspectives. Every relationship has value. Every connection teaches us something. And sometimes the relationships that challenge us the most are the ones that help us grow the most. But here's what I want you to take away from this. If you're a Taurus, you now understand what you're actually looking for in a partner. You're not looking for someone who completes you, because you're already whole. You're looking for someone who complements you, someone who shares your values around loyalty, commitment, and building something real. Someone who appreciates your steadiness without taking it for granted. Someone who can be both your safe harbor and your catalyst for growth. And if you're someone who loves a Taurus, you now understand what they need from you. They need consistency. They need patience. They need you to show your love through actions, not just words. They need you to respect their pace, their process, their need for security. But they also need you to gently push them beyond their comfort zone, to remind them that growth and stability aren't opposites, to help them see that the most secure foundation is one built on authenticity, not on control. Let me share one more insight that ties all of this together. The reason Cancer, Capricorn, and Scorpio work so well with Taurus is because they all understand something fundamental about love. They understand that love isn't a feeling. Love is a choice. Love is a commitment. Love is showing up day after day, year after year, through the boring moments and the difficult moments, and you'd rather be anywhere else. Love is building something together that's stronger than either person could build alone. Cancer understands this through their emotional devotion. Capricorn understands this through their practical commitment. Scorpio understands this through their psychological intensity. And Taurus understands this through their physical presence, their sensual attention, their unwavering loyalty. When these energies combine, they create relationships that don't just survive, they thrive, they deepen. They become the foundation that everything else in life is built upon. I want to talk about timing for a moment, because this is crucial. If you're a Taurus who has been searching for your soulmate, if you've been wondering when this person is going to show up, I need you to understand something. They might already be in your life. They might be the friend you've known for years but never considered romantically. They might be the colleague you see every day but have kept at arm's length. They might be someone you met briefly and dismissed because there wasn't an immediate spark. Taurus love doesn't always announce itself with fireworks. Sometimes it whispers. Sometimes it grows slowly, like a seed planted in fertile soil. Sometimes you don't recognize it until you look back and realize this person has been showing up for you in ways no one else has. This person has been consistent when others were flaky. This person has been patient when others were demanding. This person has been building trust with you, brick by brick, without you even noticing. Pay attention to who's actually there. Not who you wish was there. Not who looks good on paper. Not who gives you butterflies. But who actually shows up, who actually follows through, who actually treats you with the respect and care you deserve. Because that person, that steady, reliable, devoted person, might be your soulmate, and you might have been overlooking them because you were looking for something more dramatic. And if you're in a relationship right now with one of these three signs, Cancer, Capricorn, or Scorpio, I want you to recognize what you have. I want you to honor it. I want you to protect it. Because this kind of compatibility, this depth of understanding, this potential for lasting love, is rare. It's precious. And it requires your conscious attention and effort to nurture it into everything it can become. Don't take your partner for granted just because the relationship feels stable. Don't assume they'll always be there just because they've been there so far. Keep choosing them. Keep showing up for them. Keep finding new ways to express your love and appreciation. Keep growing together instead of growing apart. Because the most beautiful thing about these compatible pairings is that they have the potential to get better with time, to deepen with age, to become more satisfying, more intimate, more fulfilling as the years go by. Let me address one final thing before we close. Some of you might be feeling a sense of loss right now. You might be thinking about a relationship that didn't work out with one of these signs. You might be wondering what went wrong, why the compatibility didn't translate into lasting love. And I want you to know that compatibility is necessary but not sufficient. You also need timing. You also need readiness. You also need people who are willing to do the work, to communicate, to compromise, to grow. Sometimes we meet the right person at the wrong time. Sometimes we meet them before we've done our own healing work. Sometimes we meet them when we're still carrying wounds from past relationships that prevent us from fully opening our hearts. And that's okay. That's part of the journey. Because every relationship, even the ones that end, teaches us something valuable. Every connection prepares us for the next one. Every heartbreak cracks us open a little more, making space for deeper love when we're finally ready for it. If you're a Taurus who has been hurt before, who has given your loyalty to someone who didn't treasure it, who has built a life with someone who eventually walked away, I want you to hear this. That wasn't wasted time. That wasn't a mistake. That was your soul's curriculum. That was you learning what you actually need, what you actually value, what you're actually willing to accept and what you're not. And now, armed with that wisdom, you're ready for something better. You're ready for the kind of love that matches your devotion. You're ready for a partner who sees your worth and honors it every single day. The cosmic timing I mentioned at the beginning. This Venus alignment that happens once every 18 months. It's creating an opening. It's creating an opportunity for Taurus to attract or deepen soulmate level love. But you have to be ready to receive it. You have to be willing to release old patterns that no longer serve you. You have to be willing to trust again. Even if you've been hurt, you have to be willing to be vulnerable, even though vulnerability feels risky. This is your moment. This is your invitation. Not to desperately search for love, but to become so aligned with your own worth, so clear about your own values, so grounded in your own authenticity, that the right person can't help but recognize you, that the right person is drawn to you like a magnet, that the right person sees you and thinks, there you are. I've been looking for you. So here's what I want you to do. If you're a Taurus, I want you to get clear about what you actually want in a partner, not what you think you should want, not what your friends or family expect, but what your soul is calling for. Write it down. Feel it in your body. Visualize what it would feel like to be in that relationship. And then trust that the universe is conspiring to bring it to you. If you're a Cancer, Capricorn, or Scorpio who has been drawn to Taurus, I want you to honor that attraction. Don't dismiss it as impractical or unlikely. Don't talk yourself out of it because it doesn't fit your usual type. Trust the pull. Trust the recognition. And be willing to show up as your most authentic self. Because that's what Taurus needs to see in order to trust you with their heart. And if you're already in a Taurus relationship, whether you're the Taurus or the partner, I want you to recommit right now. Recommit to showing up. Recommit to communicating. Recommit to choosing each other every single day. Because that's what makes soulmate love last. Not the initial compatibility, but the ongoing choice to honor and nurture what you've built together. The truth about Taurus compatibility, the truth that goes beyond sun signs and birth charts and astrological theory, is this. Taurus is most compatible with anyone who understands that love is a verb, not a noun. Anyone who knows that real intimacy is built through consistency, not intensity. Anyone who values loyalty, appreciates beauty, and is willing to build something real that can withstand the test of time. Cancer brings emotional depth to that foundation. Capricorn brings ambitious vision. Scorpio brings transformative power. But ultimately, the best match for Taurus is someone who sees their worth, honors their pace, and commits to growing alongside them for the long haul. You now have the map. You now understand the energetic architecture of Taurus love. You now know what to look for, what to nurture, and what to protect. The rest is up to you.